A killer whale grabbed a trainer who'd always dreamed of working with orcas.
The world was in shock when another beloved trainer, Alexis Martíneze, lost his life during a session with the Orca, Keto. What happened in those final moments remains deeply unsettling, and the truth is darker than anyone could imagine.
Se quejaba de eso, de estar cansado, y yo pues le intentaba quitar un poco de...
The world was still reeling from the brutal death of Dawn Brancheau when another tragedy struck, one that was quietly buried beneath the surface. Alexis Martíneze was 29 years old, in the prime of his life, full of passion, ambition, and an unwavering love for animals. To the world, he was a marine mammal trainer. But to those who knew him, he was so much more, compassionate, driven, and deeply respected. Alexis had dedicated his adult life to understanding the creatures he worked with every single day. He worked at Loro Parque, a marine zoo in Tenerife, one of Spain's Canary Islands, a popular tourist destination known for its beaches, warm climate, and ocean attractions. Alexis had been with the park for years, becoming one of its most skilled trainers. He was selected to work directly with the orcas, a role requiring intense dedication, physical strength, and absolute trust between human and animal. At just 29, he had already spent years building trust with these massive, intelligent animals, especially Kito, a young male orca. The orcas at Loro Parque weren't wild, they were bred and trained in captivity. Young, powerful whales transferred from SeaWorld Orlando under a breeding and loan agreement. Among those whales was Kito, a large male already showing signs of independence and unpredictability. Still, Alexis remained confident. Known to be calm under pressure and deeply attuned to the animal's moods and behaviors, his colleagues described him as committed and fearless, the kind of trainer you wanted by your side during the most difficult sessions. Trainers noted Kito was physically impressive, long, muscular and dominant, but emotionally distant. His behavior was often unpredictable. At times he refused to follow cues. At others he became unresponsive or showed signs of aggression. Internal reports flagged these issues, yet the pressures of show schedules and public demand meant Kito remained in regular rotation, in performances and waterwork sessions. Just weeks before the incident, Kito had shown troubling signs. He had become less reliable in responding to hand signals. He acted more independently, sometimes ignoring trainers during rehearsals. During one session, he exhibited body language that made other trainers uneasy, surfacing without being asked, exhaling sharply and deviating from routine movements. Despite these behaviors, Kito was still deemed safe for close contact work. No one had ever been seriously injured by him. He had never attacked a trainer before. The assumption was he was simply moody, temperamental but manageable. But in captivity, assumptions can be deadly. In just a few hours, Kito would remind everyone how little control humans truly have over a 6,600-pound predator confined to a pool. The warning signs had been there all along. Trainers had documented concerning behaviors from Kito for months. In any other high-risk industry, these would have triggered a serious re-evaluation of safety protocols. But in marine entertainment, where performance schedules and public image take precedence, those warnings were quietly absorbed, rationalized, and ultimately ignored. But on December 24, 2009, just hours before a planned Christmas show, something went wrong. That day, Martíneze was in the water, rehearsing an underwater routine with Kito. It was supposed to be smooth, familiar, routine, but from the beginning, the orca wasn't responding as expected. He ignored signals, refused to follow the cues. Other trainers intervened, trying desperately to regain control. For a brief moment, there was hope. Kito surfaced. He took a breath. Then he plunged down to the bottom of the pool, where Alexis Martíneze still was. In the next few moments, which must have felt like an eternity, Kito pinned Martíneze underwater, not with aggression, but with terrifying force. Using the tip of his snout, the whale held him down. The water grew still, then red. Attempts were made to distract Kito, to lure him away. A net was finally used to separate him from the trainer's body, but it was too late. When they recovered Alexis Martíneze, he was already gone. An official autopsy by the Canary Islands authorities revealed stark, devastating findings. This was no mere accident, no misjudged maneuver. Alexis died from catastrophic injuries, leaving little doubt about the violence of the attack. The report described severe blunt force trauma to the chest and abdomen. Multiple ribs were broken, some snapped in half, and there were fractures in the sternum and vertebrae. The immense pressure from Kito's impact tore through Alexis's internal organs. His liver was ruptured, a wound usually seen only in high-speed car crashes or crushing trauma. There was massive hemorrhaging throughout his abdominal cavity. Both lungs had collapsed. The report also showed signs of drowning. Despite his swimming experience, Alexis never stood a chance. Kito's attack rendered him instantly incapacitated, stripped of the ability to fight back or scream for help. But the autopsy went beyond the physical injuries. It pointed to a broader failure of operational safety. According to Canary Islands labor authorities, Alexis's death was a workplace accident caused by exposure to an unsafe animal, one known for aggression. This raised urgent questions. If Kito showed warning signs, why was he allowed in close contact training? Why was Alexis in the water with an animal flagged as difficult to control? Martíneze became one of only 4 people in recorded history to be killed by a captive orca. But what caused Keto, a whale trained daily, controlled and rehearsed, to snap? Some argue it was confusion, others say it was frustration, but many believe it was something far deeper, a psychological fracture born of captivity. Keto wasn't born in the wild, he was born in SeaWorld, shipped to Loro Parque as part of a breeding and performance agreement, and like Tilikum, Keto had lived his life in artificial conditions, small tanks, choreographed routines, and isolation from the natural rhythms of the ocean. He wasn't just performing, he was surviving. Was it aggression or a mistake? The incident was kept quiet, too quiet. Only after Dawn Broncho's death did the full details come to light. Loro Parque and SeaWorld initially downplayed the cause. They framed it as a trainer error, not a system failure. But behind the scenes, trainers knew the truth. Kito had exhibited signs of stress before. Internal documents later revealed that Kito was considered uncontrollable and showed signs of mild aggression during training. Behavioral evaluations described him as socially isolated, dominant, and inconsistent in responses. And the protocols in place hadn't worked. Martíneze's death wasn't just tragic, it was preventable. But his name never made headlines like Dawn's did. No massive documentary, no protests, no policy shifts, just another warning ignored. Orcas don't belong in tanks. They belong in the sea, with their pods, their freedom, and their dignity. Alexis Martíneze should not be forgotten, and Keto should never have been there in the first place. Now, with Tilikum gone and Keto still alive, we're left asking the same brutal question. How many lives will it take before we stop keeping orcas in captivity?